Today I'm going to begin with a video. You'll notice what's happened is every class I sort of add a new something to it. It was the keyboard, the mouse, the video, the audio. I'm adding these things one at a time. Each one of these things, as we go along, you're going to see we can integrate them into programs. You can put them together and create stuff. But if you need to write a program that uses any of the things that we're using, and you don't remember that part of it, there's a day that covers that. You can go back to the day that covers it, and you can see a little program of some kind that shows you the basics of that particular instruction set. It turns out to run videos, you don't have to have any kind of include file. It doesn't require anything. Your programs can actually just run them. It's that simple. So what I'm going to do is give you the basics of how to show a video file. Now here's what you assume. You assume that you have a video file, and it can be in one of two formats. Maybe there's other formats too. There are other formats, but I only use one format. I use an MP4 for everything because it's kind of standard, and the different software I have understands it and is able to deal with it. So MP4, having an extension of MP4 is actually a good one. You can have .wav, W-A-V. That one is it's smaller. It doesn't take as much space up, but the quality and so forth is a little bit of a problem there. So I would advise you to stick with MP4. If you stay with one format, you're actually better off because all your programs will deal with it, and it'll make sense to you after a while. So assuming that you have a video of some kind. Now, I should start by saying that there's different ways of getting videos, and that's part of today's coverage. One of the ways of getting it is use your cell phone. You take a video with your cell phone, and it takes MP4s. And then what you do is you hook your cell phone up to your computer, and you simply download the video to your computer, some folder in your computer. Now the thing is that cell phones take really high definition videos. They're really high quality. And the problem with that is that if you were to put that on the internet and someone tried to view it, the quality is so high that it would be very, very slow, except for somebody who's got super speed, connections. But the regular person would see it, and it would sort of stall, and it would do all kinds of stuff. So what you want to do is you want the thing to work rapidly. So you really need to get the MP4, not only into MP4, but into an MP4 format that actually is streamable, okay? That's the trick. In other words, out of your camera comes something that's really good, but unfortunately it's slow. If you put it on the web, it's too slow. So what you have to do is you have to convert that into a format that actually is streamable. So that's where the program Screencast comes in. Screencast is a program that I'm going to talk about. In fact, I should do that before I start because it's the first thing we have to do. Screencast is a program that allows you to put a little frame around any video that you're showing. You can show it. It could be showing on YouTube. It doesn't make any difference. While the video is showing, you put this frame around it, and you tell it to start recording. It'll go 3, 2, 1, then it'll start recording. And whatever's in that frame is recorded. And this program is an amazing program because you think that, well, if you have an image on your screen, suppose your screen is this size right here, and you have an image on your screen that's about that size right there, and you put this frame around it, right, so that it just takes this image. You'd think that if you blew that image up to a screen size, it would be awful. But actually, it's really not that bad. However they do it, I'm not sure how they do the calculations, but however they capture that, they capture it in a way that it looks darn good. So in other words, if you capture this little image right here, and then you save it away as a file, you have to save it, give it a name, an MP4 name. And then what will happen is it'll save it on your desktop for you. Then you take that thing and you upload it to your Alta Vista. And that becomes the video that you're showing people. So in other words, your program says, look at my video, and it shows it to them. It'll stream it down to their machines. So basically, we have these two steps. We have to get a video someplace. It could be from your cell phone, or it could be from YouTube, it could be any place. And you put that little frame around it, and you watch the video, the part that you want to get. Now, I should tell you something. This is only experimentation. We aren't doing final products here. So the thing to do is don't jam your Alta Vista up with videos like these little experimental things, because if you put like a 15-minute video up there, it's going to start taking up a lot of space. And I don't know if you have a space limit or not. I'm not sure how they do it these days. So if I were you, I would just take a minute or two of film of some kind. Let's go to YouTube, take a couple of minutes of film, or take it out of your camera and do whatever you want. But you show the thing and you take a picture of it with this screencast, and what will happen is it'll save it away, and you'll have a little file, relatively little, it'll be huge, but it'll be a relatively little file. Then you can upload it, which is another stage. When you upload the thing to your Alta Vista, it's going to be slow because it's a movie, there's a lot of stuff in it. It isn't like normally you upload something and it goes, it's up there. Movies go like, the thermometer starts going, it takes a little bit of time to get them up there. If they're long, it's much longer. So that's the thing. You want to be sure that you take whatever video you have, capture it with screencast, then take that one and send it up, whatever you name it, send that one up to your Alta Vista and use that one for your programs, okay? That's the one we'll be using. I've experimented a little bit. I've been able to get, I can make a video on your, you put a video on your pages that contain YouTube stuff. There's a way of doing that. The code is kind of kinky and there's a lot of stuff to it. But what I'm going to try to take that and put it away somehow so that you don't have to deal with that. And maybe by a few classes now you'll be able to actually just put down the name of the thing on YouTube you want, the code name for it, and it will immediately download it into your program. So in other words, all you have to do is write a program, say I want to show this YouTube thing, and what it'll do is it'll just show you that YouTube thing wherever you want. And it comes automatically with the buttons, control buttons. You can't get rid of that. YouTube's got a format that it locks to. It shows you it, and it has all of its controls, and they're always there. So whatever, even though you put it into your page someplace, you're still going to have those controls, visible.
I'm also curious. You mentioned putting it into a page. I don't know how like Alta Vista does it, but I've even in like high school with like computer technology classes have had to use like blogging programs that allow you to like embed a YouTube video, but it shows up in like the YouTube player, like the same graphics.
This is the same. This is what you get. This is what you're getting here too. The same thing.
Okay, gotcha.
That's all you're doing is getting hold of that. Okay, so I'll tell you what. The first thing I should do is bring down I'll do a little experiment. Well, I'll go to YouTube. I'll bring down a little video. I'll take a picture of it, and we'll go through the whole process, and you kind of see how it's done, okay? That's probably the easiest way. Talking about it is one thing, but actually seeing it done, that's quite a different story. So let me get this thing up and running here. I think I can do it, I can't download the movie, so I'll do it on this one. If I can get this one to operate, I'll do it. If I can't, I'll do the other one. So the first step is how to get a movie into your machine. Okay, that's the first step.
I thought you were making that sound with the...
I'm going to have to reduce the size of it a little bit because if anybody online wants to see it, they'll need to see more than it shows up here. It's not over there. Can you still read everything on that size?
Yep.
And that should be right for everybody right there. That should do it. Okay, is it visible to everybody? Okay. First thing is, let's go to YouTube. And let's get a movie of okay, let's try that. We've got something for Hawaii here. Oh, this one. Well, you want to just get a scene from Hawaii. Hold that one.
I wish I didn't take life so seriously. I wish I didn't take life so seriously. I wish I didn't take life so seriously.
I wish that guy wouldn't take life.
I wish I lived more. I wish
I'm going to shut him off. Okay. So here we have a video. Now, I shut his voice. I shut the sound off. Okay. This is a classical thing that happens in YouTube. People take visuals that are really quite nice, and they drop some kind of sound over them that you'd like to bring in next to spoiling the whole thing. It's possible for us to capture the videos without the sound, and then we can just put our own sound in later, onto them later, and that's we already have an audio thing. So if we turn on the video, which I'm going to show you how to do today, and we turn on the audio, it'll play the audio for you, and the video will show, but the sound will be off because you turned it off. Okay, so there won't be any sound. When you capture these, we're not capturing, I'm just showing it to you right now, but we're going to capture that. I'm going to put a screen around this and capture it with a capture program. But the problem is this: when I talk, that capture program is going to hear me, so it'll listen to me and it'll put that sound onto the video that I'm making.
So are you saying this would be like a voiceover?
So then the other thing is, if it has background sound, it'll put that on there. So you have control over which of the two you want. Now I have a problem here because I actually paid the $10 or whatever it was to get their thing, and now I can actually do it. I can control which sound I hear. Maybe the free one may have a limitation. We'll have to look at that right now. The other thing is it only allows you to do 15 minutes maximum. So no matter what you want to do, you can only get 15 minutes out of it. If you give them the $20, they'll do it. They'll give you the whole schmear. But the real reason why I got it, I kind of liked to do it the same way as you did, so you would see the same things. But in some cases, I wanted to show you a better image, so I decided to pay for it. And once you pay for it, you can't use the free one anymore. You're stuck with the pay for one, which has its disadvantages too, by the way. But the disadvantage of this one is 15-minute maximum recording, and it also puts a little logo down the lower left-hand corner. It says that this is screencast. Okay, now I've got this thing. I'm going to go to a different page here, and I'm going to just type in screencast. I'm in Google. And it's going to give you a search. Notice that there's different ways of getting it. You can get it from all different places. Get it from the official screencast. Always get your programs from the official site. Don't go to second sites because you don't know what they're going to put in. So just go to the original site, and here it is. I just clicked on it. I don't believe this. I think they wait until I go to class before they do this. I'm in class. It's like a little joke they have. I got about 5 or 6 friends that are delightful. Anyway, so here's Screencast-O-Matic, and I don't want to get the Pro Recorder. I can't record. Yeah, this is the problem I had before with this thing. Something about it. You won't get this, by the way. This won't happen to you because you've never had the program before. But I had it installed in here at one time, and I uninstalled it, and I think that caused it some grief. I don't know why it did, but it caused it some kind of problem. I don't see how to get out of this thing. Yeah, it doesn't let me get out of it. So for some reason, I'm kind of stuck. I can't record, but it doesn't do anything. Okay, so I'm going to go to the other machine over here. Let me try this. I'll press that button. No, nothing works. I don't want to get the Pro Recorder. Maybe that's what happens, is maybe when you uninstall it, it says you want the Pro Recorder now. I don't want that. But I'm going to leave the other window open. Oh, I can't leave it. I got to go over there. So I'm going to go back to Hawaii. So I'm going to go to that machine and see if I can accomplish the same thing. I got a bigger screen to work with there too, so it might be a little better for us. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's not too bad, huh? It was kind of nice. Okay, suppose you want to catch this now. So let me go to screencast. Hang on. I have to shut this. What happens is you have to control where the beginning of the video is going to be. So you have this control here about where it's going to be. This one here is like 7.25 minutes long, but I'm just going to do a little bit of it. I'm not going to do very much. Or 25 seconds. So simply open up screencast. Then I go to the, I don't want to go CNET, I want to go to the screencast itself right here.
Do you need to switch over to the projector?
What?
Do you need to switch that computer over to the projector? Can't see anything yet.
We can't see what you're doing.
We can see from your laptop, not from the...
Oh, it's not showing me, oh sorry, okay. I'll put it. Are you okay? Yeah, okay.
Much better.
Back to the same spot. But this time you see when it came on, it says start recording. It's got a entirely different message because this machine's not encumbered or cluttered up with the old version of it. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get this right here. So you want to record, so you say start recording. And that simply goes out and says, and then it asks you to launch the recorder. That's what you have to do, is launch the recorder. It's a little rigmarole here. So you launch the recorder, and it says it's loading it. And it's bringing it in. And you notice something. This appears right here, the load thing. I just click on that once to get it to do something here. I want to run the thing, so I say run. In other words, this machine here is locked in such a way I have to tell things what to do, otherwise they won't do. Okay, so here we are. See this frame right here? That frame is the one we want, that frame right there. Now I'm going to go back over here. I should reduce the size of this so you guys can see it later. Let me get it down a little bit. Hang on. Okay, what I do is I'm going to go back to this over here, click on that, because I want to go back to Hawaii. Now what I say is, I look at this thing right here. Now this is the thing that starts it up, and you have to decide what you want. If you want to put in narration, if you want to narrate, speak to the thing while it's running, you just simply press that button and you go into the narration part right there and turn on the narration. If you want to, this one here is the question one. It doesn't allow you, this is the non-paid version, so it doesn't allow you to bring in, to collect computer audio, which is actually a good thing because most of the audios are awful. But if you wanted to collect something that had voice on it, you'd have a little bit of problem. So let's say the computer audio is not obtainable apparently. They say you go to upgrade and that's the only possibility you have. So notice all you have here is narration. Now I should tell you, there is a possible way of getting the computer, suppose someone's speaking, for example. There is a way of getting them, and here's what you do. You turn on your speaker, and your microphone will pick up the speaker, and so it actually will record it, as if you were speaking. It'll come in, it won't be recorded automatically, but it'll come into the air and the sound, and then it'll go back into the microphone, and it'll be recorded because you're recording the narration. It doesn't give you the best quality though, but that's one thing. And you have to be careful because this thing does have the narration on. That means that every grunt and chortle you make is going to be on the video. And that, of course, can be very funny, especially if your girlfriend calls you up and you start talking. So be careful what you record. So that's it. All you have to do is worry about that right there, whether you want that on or not. You definitely want that on. And you want it to be on screen. We're not going to use a webcam. We're not going to use it. See, the webcam will do is it allows you to have your picture in the corner while you're talking. Okay? So if you say blah, 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 they'll have a little video of you in the corner saying blah, 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 while the whole screen is showing what you want to show. And you can do that if you want later, but this particular demonstration, all I'm going to do is just get a video of this thing. That's all I want. So I'm going to say, okay, that's what I want, and so I'm going to close this thing. I just close the X. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the frame right around the Hawaii part right here. Get it in the right spot. And the thing is, you got to be careful. You don't want to leave any white around it, because if you do, it's going to put it around your video, and that's probably not so good. Now, there's two things you can do here. You can drag this thing all the way down to the bottom, because it will. This thing will disappear at some point. But here's where the problem comes in. You have to tell this thing to start running by clicking record. And that record thing is going to interfere with the make the video run thing. They're going to get in each other's way, okay? So that's where the problem comes in with that. So you basically have to always be careful that you have this record button here somewhere. Now, in this particular case, they caused us a little bit of trouble. I see what the problem is. If I go here, do that here. See if I can get it to work. Hang on. Try to force it to do it. No, it's not cooperating. This thing here has an option. It can be at the top or on the bottom. In this particular case, it's choose to be the bottom, which is the worst place to be, because that's where the control is down there. So here's what I normally do. I normally get the video running before I turn on the let's record the thing. So what I do is I click the button that says make the video run. And then I start the recording, and it goes 3, 2, 1, and it picks up wherever we're at. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to say start the movie, and then start the recording. And now it's recording. Now this screencast is recording all this stuff now, and it's putting it away. Now I don't want to make a big long recording out of it, but a couple of minutes here, we'll see what happens. This blue thing is how you stop it. So I say, stop it. Okay, now the recording is stopped. The movie goes on because it's just playing the movie, but the recording stopped, and then I say, done. And then what happens is this other screen comes up, and this is where you actually do the saving. It's taken the video and it's put it away quickly, and now what happens is if you want to save the thing, you have to click on video file here, and click on that thing that says video file. And then what you do is, bring it down here a little bit. Then what you do is you give it a name. I say file name. We'll call it XXX Hawaii, and say publish. And click on publish. It says, okay, it's going to be on the desktop, I assume. See, it says it's going to add a watermark. That's okay. Publish it anyway. Let's go. Where's choose folder to save your? Okay. I want it on the desktop. Okay. I just told it which folder to put it in. It seemed to want that for some reason. There we go. And then it says done. And you notice, you can't see it, but I'm going to shut this off here. Let me move this out of the way. But up here, I'm showing you. I'm trying to move it out of the way. Right here on the screen, can you see it on the screen now? That right there? That is the film. We just recorded it. When we play it, I'll just turn it on. I'll click on it twice. Something should pick it up. There it is. And that's it. So now we have a recording of it. Okay? And that little recording right there, which is called XXX, is what we get. And this, by the way, can be full screen. You can see it does a really good job, really. It's not bad. Let me play it one more time to show you how what the quality looks like. It's not so bad, is it? I mean, when you think about it, this thing is actually recording at the same time as it's playing on the same computer. It's doing a very good job. It's quite good quality. And so there it is. So now what you have is this video right here. You actually have this video. That's the one that you upload with its name and everything. You upload it, and it's just like a picture thing. You treat it like a picture. I'm going to show you how to code put it into our programs. But basically, that's it. You have it. Okay? Does that all make sense? That whole thing? I hope that when you watch the video that everything's in sight, that you kind of see that you don't miss anything. I'll look at it. If we miss anything, I'll just simply go back and redo it. So that's all there is to it.
Is it possible to disable being able to hear what the background noise is? Because in the example you used, you could hear picked up like the computer's fan running.
The only reason why this one didn't pick up is no microphone. It would have heard everything I said. There's no microphone.
Interesting.
In your machine, it will pick it up if you get a microphone.
So
At the university, if there's a microphone, it will work. Otherwise, if you have no microphone on the machine, it won't work.
So how do you get rid of like the static then, which I thought was the computer's microphone picking up its fan running?
What?
Like in the clip you just showed when the recorded version, like the video taken of the video playing, there was like this white noise in the background.
Yeah, there was. I think it's got something to do with, here.
Okay.
I don't get that at home.
Okay,
I don't
interesting.
know what it's got to do. It's got something to do with here.
Okay.
I don't think, the lab might or might not, I'm not sure. You
Okay.
have to get a microphone for the lab, that's a problem. Okay, so that's, everybody understand that part, we've actually got the film now. Now I'm going to say, suppose we have the film, you put it in your CSO 101 folder, and now let's play the film. Let's put it into one of our pages, so it'll be on our web page, one of our web pages. So, what you do is, right, the simplest program of all to get that video we just played goes like this. Doesn't require anything. See, it doesn't require any. There's nothing up in the. There's no JavaScript involved in it. Yeah, we haven't used JavaScript yet. This is all HTML stuff. So you got body. Other side. Text. Those quote marks. By the way, in the home assignments, I've had 3 people have quote marks problem. Be careful with quote marks. Those are the weird ones. It's hard to figure out what you need them sometimes. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is, this is the instruction that puts the video image on the screen. This is what it looks like. What a surprise, huh? Call it my video. Just give it a name. You can call it video if you want. You can call it anything you want. Videos. Actually, why don't, for simplicity, just to keep it uncomplicated in the beginning, let's just call it video, unless it's for any other reason you want to change it. Because some of the demo programs use video, and that's a good thing to keep the same name. Okay, and the source of this video equals, what do they call it, XXX?
Yeah. I think you use 4 X's actually. But
In Hawaii? Like that? Whoops. .m84. There. That, whatever the name was, that's the name I thought it gave us, something like that. Okay. That's supposed to be 2 I's right there, believe it or not. Anyway, so next thing I did is, the normal videos that we make have a ratio of 4 this way and 3 this way. That's a normal screen. That's what the normal ratio of the screen looks like, okay. So if this part down here, if I wanted this thing to be, I said 1280 here, then I made the height 960. Is that the right ratio? Will that work? Does that look right to you? It overrides you anyway. It will only play what it has. So I'm only doing this because there are occasions you'll see in the future when we get to 3D graphics where you have to kind of know. Here, it kind of, I think if you only put in the width, I think it would take care of the height automatically. I think you wouldn't have to deal with it. But if you end up getting nothing on the screen, I would then put in the height to be sure that it worked. Okay. Next thing you want to do is, you get the video like this. If you want the video to start up right when you open up the page, you have to say autoplay. Remember that word? Otherwise, you'll see the video but nothing will happen. You have to say autoplay there, space here, and if you want the video to keep looping, just like sound, you give a loop. No quotes around these guys, and that should do it. Right there. That's about it. That's it. That line actually does the whole thing.
And then you would just have like the slash head and all that jazz afterward?
What?
Would you just, is that the whole program? You would just have like the slash head, slash HTML and all that jazz, and that's the whole program?
No, you got one more thing to do. We didn't have any sound in this one, so you want to put sound in, right? So we would just put an audio thing in here. This is an audio now where you have some audio, some sound that you want. Give it any name you want here, doesn't make any difference. And the source equals whatever you called the thing when you recorded it. Call it sunshine. .mp3. Don't forget, they're always MP3s for us. MP3s are our source. And you have this one autoplay also. You want the sound to start at the same time, and you want it to loop also. And slash audio. That's it. So in other words, if you don't get any audio from that thing, you have to create your own audio, and that's what does it. Okay. That's what you said. That's what you said, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing you had to add in there. Pretty small program. There's not much to it, really. Okay. Notice you don't need anything up there. Nothing, no JavaScript required at this point. We don't have any JavaScript required. The reason why we would use JavaScript is because we might want to control the volume of the video playing. We may want to control the size. You can actually control the size of the screen. For example, this thing right here. Did I put width up there? I think I missed something, you guys. Yeah, I missed a whole bunch of stuff in here. You have to tell it. I said it was 1280 by 9, but I didn't set it up. So what you have to do is you have to say width equals, I think it defaults to something, but we want to tell it what to do. And I gave it a height, but that's not necessary, but I gave it one anyway. 960. Those two guys are just like inserted in here. They're right in here before autoplay. As I say, if you don't put it there, it'll give you something. I don't know what it gives you. It probably defaults to something, whatever. But that way, this way you can keep control over it. And by the way, this also gives you the possibility, if you set up a style sheet in here, you can tell it where to be. You can actually align the thing any place you want, okay? But you wouldn't want to have, well, you could have that still, but you basically can align it any place you want. You can make it any width or height. And you can also put it on different depths. You can actually z-index it different ways. And you can use opacity on it. You can make the video run semi-transparent if you want. All those things work for it, just like a regular image. Yeah, they work this out really well. it's only in the last couple of years they actually got this down pat. By the way, this stuff is still, it was still in play up until very recently. And that's it. That's all you need, and that's quite cool. I think that you can now show your own movies. It's a good thing. You can show more than one too, by the way. You can show as many as you want. Just put them in different places, give them different IDs, put them in different places all over the screen. You can do anything you please. Okay. That's it. Everybody kind of just get rid of it. You'll see it online anyway. And there are programs. There are programs, right? These programs, in fact, are already there. I'd like to do this one here, show TV, yeah. And write another one here that okay, supposing you want to create, you have an image of something, whatever, a juggler. This guy's juggling, okay? And you have the guy, and he's here like that, and he's juggling. And supposedly what you want to do is you want to put him into a scene with some curtains, like some kind of curtains, or like theater, like, you know, a curtain here like that, and a curtain here like that. And you want him to be, you know, some kind of a deal, that sort of deal. So basically what you want to do is you want to have this theater kind of scene right here, and you want him to be in that scene someplace. So the question is, how can you do that? He's a movie. It's a video that you have. Okay. So what you can do is you can get the theater scene from the internet. There's plenty of them. Just go out and find any theater scene you want. It doesn't make any difference what it is. It's got curtains on it. But put down theater curtains and go to the images in Google, and you're going to see plenty of them. And what you get is you get some theater scene that you like. Okay, it'll look like that. And it'll have some curtains like so somehow, however it looks. And it probably has some junk in here, whatever it is. Have kind of stuff in here, whatever it is. So what you do is you take this thing and bring it to your paint program. Okay? And then what you do is you use paint to erase all the stuff in here and get it down to, I would put, well, supposing these curtains are red. Supposing the curtains are red right here. This is red and this is red over here. What I would do then is, if there's no blue, I would make this whole space right here blue. Make it all blue in paint. You can do that by pouring the thing in. Make sure it's absolutely one color blue, okay? Then what you do is you copy this and go to XView with it. Bring it to XView. And you drop it in XView. Now when it goes into XView, this is what it looks like. And what you say to XView is, you're going to make the blue transparent. And so you know, as you use the XView transparency thing to make it transparent, and that blue becomes transparent. Now you have a curtain with transparency right here, okay? Save the thing as a ping. So now what you have is a curtain with a transparency and a ping. Then what you do is you write a program that puts the juggler right on the zero plane, okay, at depth. And you put this thing here out at 1 or 2 or 3 or wherever you want to put it in front of him. And now what happens is you have this curtain around him and he's actually on the scene in the background. Make sense? So what you do is by using that depth thing, you can actually put him into that scene. What you might have to do, though, this is another thing you should think about, is that behind him, you may want something, some other curtain or something like that. In which case, here's how you'd have to do it. If you're looking down at the thing, here's the movie of him right here. You might have to put a background, a picture back here, like at -1, you might have to put a background. He's at 0, and then you put the curtain up here at 1. So what happens is the audience is looking, they can see him, and then behind him they can see this background here. So you get 3 images really. You got the movie in the middle, you got an image out here and an image down here. Does that make sense to you? So it kind of looks like this. You kind of like got the curtain deal. You got him, and then behind him, I'm not doing this very well, behind him you have another background that actually is, you know, whatever you want behind him at the time, whatever theater you want behind him. So as you can create layer after layer and get a little show going there. All you have to do is put the first image down, put the movie down, put the second image down, make sure the front one is a ping, and then run the thing and it should work. Okay, and I'm going to do it right now. I'll write a little program that does it. Okay, let's say you have an image. Let's say that the front image is called curtain. I'm going to call one of them background. Let's say back. Call it background. And what that is, it's a JPEG. Say it's called back.jpg. That's what it is. And then the movie, let's call it the juggler. And we'll give him an MP4 as a movie. And the curtain in the front is curtain. And don't forget, you saved it from and you want to call it a ping file because it has a transparency in it. It's got a transparent place, which you created. Okay? By going to paint, making that blue, going to XView and saying make all the blue transparent. That's all you did using those 3 steps. So now what you have is the 3 things. Let's make the page that actually has all 3 of them on it. Okay. You don't really need the text align center in this case, because what happens is you're telling everything where to go. You're telling every object in the thing where to be. You know, it's just saying, I want the corner here, I want the corner there. So you're actually controlling everything. All right, so step number 1, you have the body. We're not using any kind of JavaScript this time. This is just setting up a simple background. So we say, oh, we have an image, and its source is back. JPG. That's the background scene, okay? It's style. Let's put it at left. Oh, I'm sorry. Position absolute. You got to have position absolute to make this stuff work. Absolute. Let's put the left-hand side at whatever, 500, and let's put the top at 100. And let's make the width. What you have to do when you're making things like this, where they're on top of each other, you have to make sense about the width. So you may have to control the width to make sure that it works right. So let's set the width. We'll just set it at 200. I want to keep all the numbers different, that's all. And I believe that's it. Let's see if I get that right. Yeah, just an image is all it is. This is absolute, left 500. Okay, so right off the bat what you have is you have the background image right here set up. Its left is 500. Its top is 100, and its width is 200, like so. There it is.
Do you
That's
need
the
to give
background.
the image an ID?
What?
Do you need to give the image an ID? Or
You don't need an ID, and here's the reason why. An ID is needed if you're actually going to do something with it. Like if you're going to change it, or rotate it, or move it, or rotate, do something with it. You give it an ID because you're going to act on it. You're going to change its size or do something. We're not doing anything to it. You could, if you put an ID, it wouldn't hurt. It would not hurt anything if you put an ID equals back. That would be fine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For your own consumption, if you actually want to do that, that's probably not a bad idea to do that all the time. I don't have to do anything here about depth, except z index colon -1. But see why I would do that? Because the movie is going to be at 0, so I want to put the background behind the movie in the background. I can put it -1, -2, or anything you want. It's going to put it behind it. That's what it does, it puts it back with it. So this thing here is going to be Z. So whatever new one we add in here, we add something new in here, it's going to be in front of this thing. The next one's going to be the movie. This is the juggler, okay? The juggler's in front. So what you do is you say, okay, let's put the movie in. So in this case, you have a video. Okay. In this case, because of the fact that you actually, yes, you want to give it an ID. Tell it the source. And that's juggler.mp4. Okay. And you should probably give it the same width, so I'm going to give it a style sheet here. Position, absolute. Left 500. You might have to change that because you have to figure out how wide these things are and try to figure out what to do. Top 100. Oops. 100. Width. Give it the same width, 200. And Z index. Zero. That's it. Z index 0. So basically, what you're saying is that this guy right here, this one right here is at -1, and this guy right here is at 0 in the Z index. So that means it's come forward. Okay. So now what you have, if you just ran this program, like I'm saying, when you write programs, the thing to do is to do these one at a time. Just have this down at the bottom here done. /HTML. And all you do is make sure those are there, and just simply run the program. Run it with this one, make sure it works. Run it with this one, make sure it's in the right position so you can line everything up properly. That means you may have to adjust these numbers here depending on how big your video is and all that stuff. And finally, the front image. Next one is the front image. Just an image. Its source is, this time the source is curtain. .ping, because it's got a transparency in it, so you want that ping. And again, go to style equals position absolute. Left 500. Top 100. Width 200. And you may have to change this. And 200 and Z index. This is where you got to be careful. Colon is 1. Because you want to. By the way, the video thing is not complete. At the end of video things, you got to always do this. Be sure to put /video. That's a weird one. You got to be sure that when you create a video, you have a /video at the back end of it. Okay, be sure you do that. That's it. Should run. So you have 3 images. That new image, the new curtain, is right up front here. You know, it's got the curtain. So there it is. 1, 2, 3. And this one's in position 1 right here. -1 comes up to 1. 0 comes up to 1. Plus 1. And that's it. And that it's really kind of simple, but what it does is it gives you a chance to do some things. You can control the video by changing its, you created its width, the width you want it to be. You can make it on whatever Z-plane. You could change the Z-plane of this, by the way. You can move it back and forth. You can do anything you want with it. And you can change the dimension and the location and the Z location. Yeah, that's it. So that program, that program is pretty simple to write, it'll work. All right, you got it? Does it all make sense to you? There's no problems with any of this stuff?
So far.
What?
So far, is
That's
that?
good, okay. Next one. Okay, now this program is a combination of some of the things we've done before. Basically, it looks like this. I'm going to put a video on the screen, a little video, and then you're going to be able to take the mouse, grab a hold of it and move it someplace. You can move the video around the screen, leave it here, leave it there, leave it anywhere. Okay, so you're going to have control over where the video is. Now, you've probably seen this. You probably don't see many programs that do that. But there are possibilities, like maybe in games or whatever you want to do, there may come a time when you may want to move a video to a different position as possible. So let's, for whatever reason, let's give you the potential, the code to do that. Now, this time you have to do more up in the head because we have to add something in. If we're going to use the mouse to grab a hold of stuff and move and drag stuff around, you have to have that basic.js include file. That has to be there because that controls, that has all those controls. So what you have to do is, right in the head right here, you have to have this guy. What that does is that brings in all the mouse controls and all the keyboard controls that we need, okay? So, let's talk about what we're going to do here. First, you're going to put down a video. The position of that video, just like with images, is the upper left-hand corner. So wherever it is, from the left side it's a certain distance, from the top it's a certain distance, and that's the point they're talking about, okay? But we have to actually, if we want to grab a hold of the mouse, we're not interested in how close we are to that point. We're interested in how close we are to this midpoint right here. How close are we from that point? So therefore, what we have to do is we don't say how far are we from this. We're how far are we from this plus half of the length and plus half of the height. In other words, that's the position we're really interested in. Okay, so if this was like 150, that would be 75. Okay, it's half of whatever it is. And that's the point that we want to find out. When we press the mouse down, how close are we to that point, wherever that point is? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. That means I have to add some things into the program. As I said in a previous time, you don't exactly know why we do it, but we have to do it because it won't work unless we have these things in there. So I'm just going to put them in, and then we'll explain. We'll go back to why they have to be there. Script language JavaScript. You guys have seen all these things 1,000 times, so they're all making sense to you this time. And then we have to have a variable. And the first one's called vidWidth. I gave it that name. This is my name, vidWidth equals 640. There's no quotes around it. This is JavaScript. It's just a number. So I'm saying the width of my video is going to be 640. I'm saying that above. And then I'm going to say, after the semicolon, I'm just going to add another vid height equals 480. And that should be the same. That should be the same. Notice what I'm doing here. I said I want a variable. And I said this variable. I said semicolon. Then I put another variable. They allow you to do that. So in other words, you can put as many variables as you want. With semicolons between them, you can declare all your variables, okay? So whatever you put here is initiated as a variable. That's going to be a variable. Whatever I put is going to be a variable. And this is in the global area. I'm not inside of any function. I'm out here in the global area. Because I want, whatever I do to these things, I want them to stay that way until I come back again. I don't want them to disappear after the function finishes. So vid height, vid width, vid height, vid top equals 300. Vid left equals 500. And drag equals 0. And that's it. There they are, all the variables I need. What I'm saying is, I'm going to have an image on the screen, okay? And its width is going to be 640. Its height is going to be 480. It's, from the top, it's going to be 300. It's going to be 300 pixels down from the top. It's going to be 500 pixels from the left. That's the location of it right there. And the drag is equal to 0. Drag equals 0 because I need to control that to figure out when I'm going to drag the thing around what to do. So all I've done is I've set the conditions that are true for that. Down below in the program, I have to create a video tag that has a style sheet that gives me that same information. It's got to be identical. In other words, when I say, here's my video, it's located at, it's got a width of 460, it's got a height of 480 and so forth. I have to do that down here. These numbers have to match these numbers because in my JavaScript, I've got to know what's happening out there in the real world. And when I make a change, I change the JavaScript numbers and I give them to the real world. And that tells the thing to move to new position. That's how it works. Okay, so far we've got this stuff. This is global. Now, then I'm going to write the function which is from mouse down. Remember, what happens is, this is on the screen. When I put my mouse down, if I'm inside, if I'm in the range here, then it means when I start to drag, this thing's going to come with me. If I'm outside the range of in here, I'm not close enough, the distance is too great, when I drag, nothing's going to happen. So it'll only drag if I get in close enough. So the first thing I do is when I put the mouse down, immediately I say, how close am I? If I'm close enough, turn the drag on, because that means I want to drag. In other words, if my X and Y are close enough to that point right there. So here's what I do. I say, okay, I make a variable, and I call it mid-X. This is actually a slow way of doing it, but it's clearer than the other ways. And then I say vid left plus vid width divided by 2. And here's what I've done. I said, what is the X midpoint of that thing? Well, it's this distance right here plus half of that distance. That's the X point of this. So notice, this is the vid width right here, and this is the left. So you take the left and you add it to half of that, and you're now in the middle in that direction. And then you do the same thing in the vertical direction. You say variable mid-y is equal to vid top, which is how far down from the top, plus the height, vid height, divided by 2. So what I did is I said, well, how far is this down? How far is this midpoint? It's 300 down, plus half of this height here, which is 480, is half of that, which is that right there. So that's how far down it is. So now I know two things. I know what the X is of this, and the Y is of this, just by doing that calculation. That's the X, midpoint X, and that's the midpoint's Y. now what I do is I say, when I click the mouse down, I say, how close am I to that point? That's the point that I'm interested in. So I say, okay, I get a distance. I say variable distance. I create this variable is equal to proximity. That's the function we use, proximity. I say, how far is it from this point right here, mid x, comma, mid y, to, and when I came to mouse down, it gave me mouse x1, which is the x direction, location of the mouse, and mouse y1. There it is. So what happens is I say mid x and mid y is the midpoint of the image, and mouse x and mouse y is where the mouse is located. So if mouse x and mouse y are right here, and mid x and mid y are here, that's the distance between, and that's the distance I get right here, whatever that distance is. So if that distance is short enough, I say, okay, turn drag line, because we've actually grabbed a hold of it. So I say if distance, that distance right there, is less than or equal to 200, that's just arbitrary. I said, if I'm within 200 pixels of it, grab it. That's just what I'm saying arbitrarily. Then I say, okay, drag equals 1, because I'm going to turn on the drag. That means I now have a hold of the thing. And then I actually don't have to do anything else. I'll just go like so. Like that. There it is. And that is the function. That is the first function, the one, the mouse down. That says I hit mouse down. So now I'm on hold of the question.
In the parentheses it says mid-y. Is it supposed to say mid-x, or is it supposed to just say mix?
We're here?
Yeah.
Right here?
To the left of it. Is that supposed to
Yes,
be?
yes.
Okay.
Good for you. So it's mid-x, right? I get mixed. Mixed up. Never mind. It's an in-joke. Okay. Yeah, mid-x and mid-y, right? But these are online, by the way. Don't ever trust my writing, because you'll be in serious trouble. Okay, so there you have it. That's the first function. Don't forget, in order to do this kind of business, it takes 3 functions. It takes the down function, where you say press the mouse down. It takes the drag function. And the drag function, what it does is it tells you how far the thing drags, and you make it drag. And then there's the up function. And what the up function says is you let go of the mouse, make drag 0, because you're not holding it. You don't have a hold of it anymore. So there's 3 little functions you have to do. And this is the first one. Okay? I'm going to get rid of it. This is going to be dangerous, but I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm going to put the other ones in. Okay? So remember, all this thing does is simply finds the mid x and mid y. And then what it does is says how close is the mouse down to that point. And if it's less than 200, turn the drag on. Drag is now on. So remember, if this thing succeeds, drag is 1. If it doesn't, if that fails right here, if that test fails, drag will still be 0. It'll still be what it was above, just 0 over there. And that's it. So now drag is 1 if we hit it. Well, let's see what happens if we hit it. Next thing that happens is, as you drag, the mouse basic tells you, oh, you're dragging. Here's the position you're in while you're dragging. It tells you that. So now what you have to do is you have to make a new function, which says, what are we doing when we're dragging? No, you use this one too. This is still here. Okay, so what you say is function mouse drag. First thing you do is say if drag equals 0, return. Here's why. Here's why. If I press the mouse down over here and start dragging, I don't want to stop moving the object. I only want to move the object if I was within 200. So that's the only time we would set drag equal to 1. If I press down anywhere else and drag, I don't want anything to happen. So therefore, the first thing I do is I say, well, drag's not 1. That means whatever I'm doing has nothing to do with this thing, so forget it. So that's what happens. If drag is still 0, just get out of here. If you're dragging at 0, you want out. You don't have anything to do with it. Okay, so that takes care of that. So the first thing it does is it makes sure that you don't get caught up, I'm sorry, you don't get caught up in the, now, the next thing you do is you say, hang on a second, should we do this right? Okay. Next thing I want to do is the left invid top. I might do this kind of a weird way. See if I can do this a better way. Hang on. First thing I want to do is find out how much I dragged the mouse. How far is it now from where it was before? Up above here, I hope with height, the top is left drag. I didn't leave a variable for it. I have to put that variable in. So I have to put the mouse, I'm going to say my x equals 0. My y equals 0. I just add those in. Here's the reason why I don't like this program. So basically, what I've done is I've said, well, originally when I clicked the mouse down, I should have stored away where the mouse was at that point. I should have stored it in that location. So I should have said, like the original one says mouse down, the two commands I should have said are this right here. My x equals mouse x1, and my y equals mouse y1. That would have been better to do it that way. So now what I've done is, when I click the mouse down, like over here for example, I click it down, the first thing it does is it stores the mouse locations, the x and y, okay? So now I know where the mouse was clicked down. That's the first thing. So I always keep track of where my mouse is when it's dragging with that same variable. I'm going to keep those two variables, x and y, telling me where is my mouse as I'm dragging it around. I'm going to keep track of it. Okay, so let's do that. So assume I did that in the first function, which I didn't do. I should have done it. And now mouse x and mouse y now contain that information. So then what I say is x difference equals my x minus mouse xd. What I've done is I've said I was originally at mouse x and I subtracted mouse xd from it. I'll have to explain to you why they're in reverse. They're in reverse for the reason that it works this way. Just do this and you'll see what happens. This is the position that my mouse was in originally, which I've gotten when I pressed the mouse down. And what this does is this is how far have I dragged. This is the current drag point. This is the original position I pressed the mouse down, because when I went down, I said make x, y where I am. And now what I've done is I've dragged the mouse, now its new drag position is here. And I say, now the drag position is different than the original. So subtract the two of them, and that's the difference. That's how far I've dragged at this point. So when you do the same thing with y, you say the y difference is equal to my y minus mouse yd. So now what I have is I now have how much the mouse has been dragged, okay? And now what I want to do is one more thing before I get out of this thing. I want to say my x equals mouse xd. The reason why is because now that I've moved the mouse to here, I now want this to be the old point when I move the mouse to the next place. So what it is, every time I move the mouse, I want to know where I was at the last time. So at this time right here, I'm at this position. So I want to store that so I'll know next time that this is where I was, so it'll be able to do that subtraction right there again. Okay? So I say mouse y, my y is equal to mouse here, yd. So what I have now is I'm maintaining each point that I stop at, I'm maintaining that point. I'm up in that variable there. But what I've done is I found the x difference and y difference. Now what I simply do is I say, move this image that amount. So I say, okay, the original image's left position of the image I'm moving is from our previous example. Did I have that? Did I put that in? No, I didn't. It's the trouble with writing on a board like this. I can't get everything in. That's the problem. I'll write it down though. The video is at this position. I'm going to put it in. I'm just going to throw it in here. This is where the video was. Video, its ID equals, quote, my video. This right here is down in the body, okay, video is like where it always is. And its source is equal to whatever, XXX Hawaii, or whatever it was. That. Oh, .mp4. There it is. That's the source. And what we know about it is style, position absolute, its width is 640. Its height, which is a top height, is 480. Its top is 300. Its left is 500. That's it. There it is. That's the video. So see, we know what its width, its height, its top, and its left are. Now, in our program up here, what I want to do is I want to change its width and its height. So right in this position right here, I'm going to write this. I'm going to say, well, now I know what this is right here and what this is right here. What I can say is that my video dot style dot left is equal to the original. It's equal to vid height or vid left plus x diff. There it is. So what I'm saying is, at this point down here, this left right here, this 500, is equal to vid left plus x diff. So vid left originally, vid left was 500, just like it was down here. So what happened was, I moved the mouse maybe six pixels that way. So now this is 6. So I said, if I move the mouse 6 pixels, I want to move the image 6 pixels. So here's the image. If I take my mouse and I move 6 pixels, I want this to go 6 pixels also. If I move it 12 pixels, I want it to go 12 pixels. So whatever position it's in, I want it to move in the same direction as I move my mouse, the same amount. So if my mouse is moving this amount right here, I want the original left position to be its original left position plus that difference, whatever it is. And also, I want my vid dot style dot top equal vid top plus the height diff. There it is. So I have now moved both this top and this left have both been moved. They're in new position. So there they are, it's both in new position. Now before I leave this thing, I have one final thing I have to do. Because of the fact I've changed vid left and vid top right here, I changed vid top, vid left, I've got to make the changes in here. I've got to make sure they see the changes also. So what I do is I say, well, and I probably slop this up a little bit, but vid left is equal to vid left plus x diff. So in other words, I change this one here to agree with that one down there. See, I just changed vid left down there, and now I want to change vid left to agree with it here. So now I had to do, I think I did that a little bit bad, but it still works. Top is equal to vid top plus y diff. And there it is. That's the end of this function. And what it does is it's kind of a rigmarole. See, all this stuff is keeping track of stuff. Where are you at? So you have this image here. You grab a hold of it, you have to say, well, where did my mouse go down? And then when I drag, how far did my mouse drag? And you want to move this the same distance, wherever it is. If I drag up that way, I want it to move up this way. So this corner, you're moving this corner around by changing top and left. You're changing those right here. That's what these do. And you're changing it by the same difference that you made your mouse drag. Same thing. And that's it. And so that will actually do the job. There's only one other function you have to add. That one will do that part. The only function you need now is you need function mouse up. Up. And when you go to the mouse up, you simply say drag equals 0. Because you're saying if the mouse goes up, that means you stop dragging and you turn it off, and then it will never work on this thing again because it'll see 0, it won't work until you press it down the next time, in which case the mouse becomes and that's it. That's the whole program. Down here, you have to put /script, /head, body, and /body, and /HTML, just the usual stuff. Surround that stuff with the usual. Okay, that's the end of the function. Well, you actually put it over here after this order. It's a rigmarole. It's a lot of stuff, isn't it? It's kind of fussy little things. But basically, when you start putting stuff together, that's what happens. You start putting this idea with that idea, and pretty soon you got 20 gears instead of just 2. And that's what causes the problem. So anyway, this is actually as hard as we'll ever get. This is like the same kind of program I couldn't finish on the last time we did this on the board. And this is another version of it. So I would like to, this program is online. And you'll see how it works and everything. You see the good code, the written, printed code. And that's it. Okay. And I think I've just about done. I've run you guys out here today. That's it. The homework assignment this week is actually kind of simple. It's basically, the last time you made a picture, put a headline, you put a couple of buttons. Take those buttons out of there, put a video in there, and have its own audio going. Just so you try these two things to see them work. See the video, see the audio, see how it works. I don't care what the video is, what you want. Have it loop, have it loop so you can watch it and loop the sound of what it will make. That's it. Done.